Hidden beneath the earth, often barely larger than a person's shoulders, lie hundreds, possibly thousands of enigmatic passageways. These are the Erdstall tunnels, silent witnesses to a mysterious chapter of European history. Discovered from Bavaria to Austria, Slovenia to France, their origins remain unknown. Tonight, we embark on a journey into darkness and discovery. We will trace their winding corridors, examine whispers of folklore, and explore theories both plausible and fantastical. What purpose did these subterranean labyrinths serve? Were they medieval escape routes, spiritual sanctuaries, or the work of ancient engineers whose secrets have been lost to time? In the rolling hills of Bavaria, a farmer plows his field one crisp morning. His plow strikes solid rock where none should be. As he brushes away the earth, a narrow opening is revealed, barely large enough for a man to squeeze through. News spreads quickly. A new Erdstall has been unearthed. Archaeologists arrive, shining lanterns into the void, revealing a tunnel that stretches 10 meters before curving into oblivion. There is no floor stone, just packed earth. The walls bear no inscriptions, no carvings, no sign of ritual or decoration. Dust and cobwebs coat the low ceiling. It feels as though, upon entering, you step off the map of known history. The word Erdstall comes from the German Erde, meaning earth, and Stall, meaning stable or stall. But stable for what? Over centuries, more have been found. Dozens in Upper Austria, some in Slovenia, a smattering in Poland and France. Each follows a similar pattern, a narrow entrance, often concealed beneath hedgerows or overgrown brush. A cramped, low-ceilinged corridor leading to junctions, small chambers, or dead ends. Let us map the anatomy of a typical Erdstall. The tunnel begins at an entrance sometimes no more than half a meter wide and barely a meter tall. You crouch, almost crawling, as you move forward. After a few meters, you reach a schlag, a low vertical shaft, often forcing you to bend even more or turn sideways in order to pass through. Beyond the schlag, passageways may split into 2 or 3 branches, leading to small chambers no larger than 2 by 2 meters. No ventilation shafts appear. No evidence of sustained human habitation. No pottery shards, no grains, no bones. Yet the soil on the floor is worn smooth, as though trodden by countless feet. These tunnels rarely exceed 30 meters in total length. The builders did not dig downward. They followed the soil always within the first 1 to 2 meters of topsoil, never deeply into bedrock. And then, inexplicably, they stopped. Doors or sealed turnoffs cut off further progress. Some end at collapses filled with centuries of earth.
When I first crawled inside as a boy, I felt both claustrophobic and intrigued. You step in, and it's like entering another world, quiet, damp, cold. You have to stoop or even creep on your hands and knees. Some tunnels are so low, only children could fit. We don't know why there are these little rooms or why they built these low clearances.
What then was the purpose of these tunnels? Scholars have proposed myriad theories. During times of war or plague, villagers might have used these outlets to hide or to flee stealthily. Yet most Erdstalls are too cramped to house more than a handful of people, and there is scant evidence of objects left behind. No notes, no food remains. Some insist these passages served as subterranean sanctuaries for shadowy, ritualistic purposes. Perhaps secret societies of the Middle Ages used them for initiations, or as places of penance. However, the lack of altars, carvings, or iconography undercut such theories. Could they have stabled livestock in winter, or served as storing cellars? Their dimensions are awkward for animals, and they are damp, far from ideal for grain storage. In the late medieval period, alchemists sought hidden places to conduct clandestine experiments. The cool, insulated environment of the Erdstall might have seemed ideal, yet chemical residues or metal tools have never been found. Local folklore weaves fantastical tales. In some regions, the Erdstall is said to have been carved by giants or by the devil himself as a test of faith. One legend tells of a blind woman who crawled inside seeking hidden treasure. She vanished, never to be seen again. Another claims that at midnight on Midsummer's Eve, the tunnels align with the stars, allowing spirits to traverse between the worlds of the living and the dead. Though first documented by folklorists in the 19th century, Erdstall tunnels have likely existed for a millennium or more. The highest concentration lies in Bavaria and Upper Austria regions dotted with medieval villages and rolling hills of loess and limestone, easy to dig into. But similar tunnels appear northward into the Czech lands, southward into Slovenia, and even pockets in northeastern France.
We used to assume Erdstalls were confined to Bavaria, but modern surveys have documented over 200 distinct sites across Central Europe. Many were discovered only recently, using LiDAR technology, which can peer through forest canopies to reveal subtle depressions. It's as if a network was hiding in plain sight.
Their distribution suggests a cultural practice shared across regions yet adapted locally. In Upper Austria, Erdstalls tend to cluster near old trade routes, whereas in Slovenia, they frequently occur on karst formations, where natural caves abound. This raises another question. Did builders choose specific geological conditions? Or did they simply adapt to what lay beneath their feet? Technically, digging an Erdstall is no small feat. It requires understanding of soil stability, proper angles to avoid collapse, and methods to remove excavated earth. There are no wheelbarrows or carts found, just handholds carved into walls, and niches where builders might have rested bulky tools.
If you look here, you see evidence of hand-chiseled marks suggesting picks or adzes were used. The walls are remarkably smooth in some sections, as if the craftsmen sanded them down. Yet in others, they are rough, jagged, as though they hit a hard patch and moved on. This uneven workmanship speaks to multiple builders over time, or perhaps to phases of usage.
The lack of uniformity suggests these were not the work of a single guild or organization. Instead, villagers over generations may have expanded or modified existing tunnels. Still, the overall blueprint remains consistent, a fact that perplexes scholars. Why maintain such uniformity across centuries and regions? In the past few decades, a wave of scientific analysis has sought to date and contextualize these tunnels. Carbon dating of organic matter fallen beams, bits of charcoal places many Erdstalls between the 10th and 12th centuries CE. Pollen analysis reveals striations of medieval agriculture. Rye, oats, and even grape pollen, indicating these tunnels were dug when vineyards and grain fields were expanding across Europe.
When we extract peat samples that have fallen into the tunnels, we find stratified layers correlating to medieval periods. While there's no direct date for the tunnel creation, we see increased sedimentation around 1050 CE. This aligns with a period of population expansion, feudal conflicts, and the rise of monastic orders. It was a time when rural communities sought refuge and innovation.
Nevertheless, no inscription or artifact directly ties the builders to a specific group, no royal seal, no monastic symbol. The tunnel's builders remain faceless. Let us revisit prevailing theories with fresh eyes. During the 11th and 12th centuries, Central Europe was rife with local feuds. Villagers might have carved Erdstalls as escape passages from marauding bands. But most tunnels are too small for swift flight and lack an upper exit entry, and exit always at ground level. Imagine trying to save family and livestock through a duck walk corridor barely a meter tall, impractical for large-scale defense. Some tunnels do contain traces of dried fruits or grains, but often these are incidental wind-blown pollen, seeds, or animal nests. The consistent moisture and lack of airflow make them poor for preserving perishables. In some regions, Erdstalls connect to natural loess, strata-fertile soil prized for agriculture. Could farmers have removed loess to spread on fields, leaving behind tunnels? But loess extraction leaves large pits, not narrow passageways. And the absence of similar tunnels in richer loess regions across Poland and Ukraine suggests a cultural, not purely economic, motivation. A tantalizing theory posits that Erdstalls were part of a spiritual rite of passage. Young initiates crawled through these passages to prove courage or humility. The grueling journey, often undertaken barefoot and in darkness, could serve as a metaphorical rebirth. Yet no medieval text describes such rituals explicitly. The evidence is circumstantial, rooted in oral tradition and comparative anthropology.
Across cultures, underground passages frequently symbolize transition, death to rebirth, ignorance to enlightenment. In Slavic myths, caves represent the womb of Mother Earth. Perhaps Erdstalls were the medieval European analogue, places to confront fear, emerge transformed. It's plausible, but we lack written confirmation. The oral traditions died with the villagers who carved the tunnels.
Folk memory preserves fragments of the past. In some Bavarian hamlets, elders warn children, don't stray near the Erdstall after dark, lest you meet the Birisel, a spectral donkey that leads travelers astray, dragging them into tunnels. In Slovenia, local legend speaks of koprivi, subterranean spirits guiding lost sheep back to light. These tales, though varied, share a common thread: the tunnel as a passage to other realms, both physical and spiritual. Despite official warnings, amateur explorers known as Stollenkraxler still venture inside with LED headlamps, GoPro cameras, and smartphones. Their YouTube channels document cramped journeys, feet sliding in mud, helmets scraping low ceilings, sudden turns into pitch-black chambers. In recent decades, technology has revolutionized Erdstall research. LiDAR, light detection and ranging, peers through tree canopies to detect subtle surface depressions where tunnels once collapsed. Combined with ground-penetrating radar, archaeologists now map networks without even turning a shovel.
We discovered an entire cluster of Erdstalls beneath a hillside thought barren. Digital models allow us to reconstruct tunnel networks in 3 dimensions, revealing patterns. Entrances often align with ancient ridgelines, suggesting intentional placement.
Archaeologists now believe some Erdstalls are interconnected, perhaps, to create a labyrinth only partially excavated by modern researchers. In one Upper Austrian site, careful excavation uncovered a previously unknown branch leading almost 30 meters beyond the known terminus. A series of collapses had concealed it for centuries.
Here, we found a second slag, another vertical shaft, suggesting an expansion phase centuries after initial construction. Tools from different eras. The earlier medieval chisels and the later, more refined adze indicate the tunnel evolved over generations.
Beneath our feet, these tunnels have become microhabitats. Biologists conducting cave ecosystem surveys find troglophilic species organisms that thrive in the perpetual dimness, but do not require total darkness. Cave-adapted spiders weave webs in corners, while blind beetles scuttle across the floor. Fungus gnats hover near patches of decaying organic matter.
Erdstalls are not true caves, but their stable temperature and humidity mimic subterranean environments. We found species rarely documented elsewhere. Each new tunnel provides a living laboratory, a chance to study adaptation and evolution in isolation.
In a sense, the Erdstalls serve as time capsules, preserving not only echoes of human activity, but unique assemblages of flora and fauna that have quietly taken refuge.
As a child, I was told never to go near the tunnel alone. One day, I snuck inside with my brother. We got lost, panic rising as we crawled deeper. My brother began to cry. We discovered an opening into a small chamber pitch black. We felt walls turned around and followed where we thought the entrance was. Somehow we found daylight again, but I never forgot that fear.
According to some teenagers who went close to a Erdstall, they heard whispers. Like someone calling their name, even the adults won't go in after dark. They say if you listen, you can hear the stones shifting like something alive down there. For local communities, Erdstalls are more than archaeological oddities. They are sources of pride, fear, and fascination. Annual festivals include guided tours, where visitors clad in helmets and gloves descend into the earth to glimpse the narrow corridors. Some villages host tunnel nights, candlelit explorations accompanied by folk musicians playing haunting melodies. After centuries of discovery, excavation, and speculation, the central question endures. Why were these tunnels built? We have no definitive answer. What we do know is that they represent human creativity and courage. Perhaps the Erdstall was a refuge from fear, or a portal to something greater. Maybe it was a classroom of humility forcing participants to bow their heads, to crawl, to face darkness before emerging into light.
Every generation uncovers new layers, both in the soil and in interpretation. In decades to come, who knows what fresh evidence, LiDAR, DNA analysis, or future historians may reveal. The Erdstall will continue to whisper its secrets, inviting us to listen.
In a world where nearly everything has been cataloged, mapped, and explained, the Erdstall tunnels stand as humble monuments to mystery. They remind us that beneath our cultivated fields and charming villages, there are still passages to the unknown, places where light struggles to penetrate and where the past may linger just beyond reach. Perhaps one day, someone will light a torch, venture deeper, and find answers waiting in the silent earth. Until then, the strange tunnels of Erdstall will continue to beckon seekers of history, adventurers of the hidden, and anyone drawn by the irresistible pull of the unknown.